Namaskar. Hello and welcome to 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘁𝑆 channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me again is Col Ajay Raina, and we are going to talk actually from where we left off in the last episode with him. We're going to talk a little bit more about the suddenly found ammunition with Pakistan, because they've been shelling the international border as well as the line of control quite heavily in the past few days, and as to who is supplying them that. Because remember, if you had watched the previous episode, you would know that Pakistan had managed to, with the ISI's help, smuggle it all into Ukraine. So where is the ammunition coming from is a good question to start with. And then we are going to also look at Akhand Bharat, the concept of Akhand Bharat, what happens, also what is happening in the Israel conflict, and some new revelations that has still not hit the mainstream media. We'll be revealing those. So to know all these things, you need to stay with us till the end. Also, like this video, and if you have not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel. Colonel Raina, namaskar and welcome to 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘁𝘆 channel.
Namaskar, Sree sir. So nice to see you again, and happy to be here again. Namaskaram.
Ajay ji, this is you left us a dangler last time in the episode. You said Pakistan ke paas kuch nahi hai, hathiyar nahi hai. They have smuggled everything to Ukraine, and then yet we suddenly see now they are pounding away on India's positions in international border as well as in LOC, close to where you live also. Kind of give us an update on to where these things came from, or is it the depleted or the last bit of arsenal left with Pakistan? How do you think this is happening now, and where do you think it will go for the next 4 or 5 weeks?
Okay, Shirji, if we were to believe international media, then Pakistan has supplied ammunition worth $900 million to Ukraine. Now, any army worth his salt, especially Asian army, will always have reserves. I mean, nobody will really empty all. There are various echelons, when it comes to logistics in army, whether ammunition or rations. You have various echelons or kind of levels of stocking. So this one thing we can understand, that 900 million firstly will not be the end of what Pakistan had. They have been short on medium ammunition from 1990s. It's not a new thing. So my observation was that since they were already short of medium artillery ammunition, after having supplied 900 million worth of ammunition to Ukraine, naturally whatever stocks they had, they would have come down to a level which is generally in our language called critical level, below which they will not. Beyond that they will not supply. They will not come below this level. I was also reading this interesting paper which says that this was a bomb for aid deal. Like last time you asked me who did it. So the answer is that America got it done, and it was done as a part of IMF package. And to secure that, Pakistan was put under pressure to supply this kind of ammunition, 900 million worth of US dollar worth of ammunition to Ukraine. Now, another thing to be noted in this is that every piece of equipment which Pakistan holds is not similar to what Ukraine holds. So as far as information available on OpenNet is concerned, two pieces of equipment held by Ukraine. One is 𝗚777 howitzer, and one is something like 122 Grad rockets. We also have this one 𝗚777 medium howitzer is something like 122 medium we used to have earlier in Indian artillery. Now it is phased out, but Pakistanis still have. Now Chinese, what they did did reverse engineering, and they produced these weapons. Like they call it Yarmouk rockets, which is basically reverse engineered product of Russian Grad 122 rocket launcher, which India also has. So while 𝗚777 ammunition supplied by Pakistan has resulted in few barrel bursts, so Ukrainians were actually crying substandard quality, and more accidents have happened with
substantial reverse engineering. Is it also substandard reverse engineering?
Yeah, reverse engineering to create the gun, yes, but ammunition. And moment we read that the ammunition started getting blasted here and there, then it's confirmed that it's Pakistani ammunition. So that actually is a logical conclusion. By the way, we are living the era of rockets. Hamas is firing, and then everybody else is firing. You'll be interested to know that the father of artillery is Indian, Hyder Ali, Tipu Sultan. They were the first ones to fire rocket artillery in war. And of course, then in 1806 or 7 in England, a guy called William Congreve who modernized it further. But the parental claim over rockets is Indian. Okay. Coming to violation, Shirji, many of our viewers will know, but I'll just highlight one thing. That when we say line of control, LOC, it is actually, it's not uniformly so throughout the border between Indian Jammu and Kashmir and Pakistan illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. So why I'm saying this is that bulk of the border which separates two Kashmirs is called line of actual control, line of control or LOC. Okay. North of that, when you get into Siachen area, where we also have a conflict again with Pakistan, there the same line is called AGPL, actual ground position. Okay, line. Basically meaning that whosoever is holding whatever belongs to him. That's why 20 years back, 30 years back, we got into Pakistan, Siachen, we threw them out as they were climbing up. We were also climbing up. So that's basically muscle power. Whosoever takes whichever peak remains there, you can keep firing, nobody bothers. That's why Siachen was active for many years, almost 2 decades. A lot of artillery, RT and small arms, mortar, everything used to be fired. Coming down to line of control, LOC, which you see in complete Kashmir and part of Ladakh and of course Jammu. There, the ceasefire, which 2003 ceasefire, which was renewed a couple of years back, it holds. And that ceasefire actually, the agreement actually covered complete line of control and international border. AGPL was not mentioned. So AGPL as of now is quiet. So we can deduce again that it's because of that agreement that the complete frontier starting from Siachen, that is AGPL, line of control, and IB has been quiet since then. But there are two catches. One is, as long as Jammu and Kashmir and their POJK, they are touching each other, it is line of control accepted by everybody. Now there comes a point, this side of Chenab, basically Jammu, south of Jammu and towards west till Pathankot, where Jammu and Kashmir state touches border of Pakistani Punjab. Now we have no conflict over Pakistani Punjab. So this stretch of about 110 kilometers, AGPL is also 110 kilometers, LC is about 700. So this stretch of 110 kilometers roughly between Chenab and Ravi River, we call it line of control. Pakistan uses another terminology which was given by UN to basically when we said line of control, UN used to call it working boundary. So what Pakistan has done, it says that the boundary between Pakistan Punjab and Indian Jammu and Kashmir, between Chenab River and roughly Chenab River and Ravi River, Ravi is next to Pathankot, it is not either, it's not international border, it's working boundary. So this is basically a kind of ambiguity created so that tomorrow when they try something here in this area, this should not flare up too much, because line of control and AGPL is understood that firing will happen. It's been happening. Ceasefire, by the way, even after ceasefire has come into being, so-called violations which are happening as we speak, they number about 400 per year. It's nothing new. But as long as things happen on the other side of Chenab and all the way to Siachen, it's taken as part of life along line of control. But moment these things like this violation which you just referred to, a place called Arnia, which is between Jammu and Pathankot. Now this is as per us international border. They say no, it is working boundary. So if it were international border, it could have flared up into a proper war, because you can't violate international border. So India says IB, they said it's working boundary, and taking cover of that concept of working boundary, Pakistan has been needling us, and this is nothing new. So all these ceasefire violations which are happening, there's no artillery being fired. So that scarcity of ammunition which we refer to, that ammunition is not being used as of now, and I don't foresee it flaring up too much. The weapons being used are small arms from pistol to machine guns is one category, and mortars. So these violations which have happened, they do it because a couple of reasons. Firstly, this is a harvesting season along our international border, which they refer to as working boundary. So is their norm to needle us? And that's why all along this stretch, even line of control, we have bunkers built for locals. But when you have firing coming into a village, Arni as a town actually. So naturally there's a panic and people start moving out. That is a natural reaction. So this disturbance that it keeps creating. Secondly, this Gaza thing, which is everywhere in the world, including Russia, where people are looking for Jews on airplane which is landing there. So that kind of is a country of foolish people, full of madness. So they are doing it. Also, this is also that time of the year when our army and their army, we go for annual exercises to sort out our battle procedures and battle drills. So this is the season when wars also happen, and this is also a season when we go for exercises, because you can't do it in monsoons, and after it gets too cold again it becomes difficult. So this is so-called campaign season. So these things happen as a normal occurrence. Like I said, even when so-called ceasefire agreement is on, 400 has been average per year since 2014. Only period when we had almost nil, it was never nil, zero, but like below 50 violations per year was period 2003 to 2007. And thereafter, there's never been any year where, but this, at the present moment when world is looking at so-called future, possible world war and whatever conflict, so these things are gathering significance in the sense the media is diverting attention to these issues. Otherwise, people like us, we are taking it in stride as of now. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. We're trying to put up a map so that our viewers have an idea of the area that you're talking about between LOC, Poonch, Jammu, Chenab, and Ravi. We're trying to bring that map up, and as soon as it comes up, we'll put it up. Colonel Raina, the question that many people dream is that, oh, listen, Akhand Bharat was from Atak to Katak. Atak is the point that even the Afghanistanis today accept that that is where our boundary is, our neighbor is India. This is a, baaton mein chai par, right? So now we have the picture here. So you can describe a little bit more if you want to. You can finish this and then we can go to the next topic.
Yeah. If we just enlarge it a bit, yeah, this is better. If you could just scroll out upwards, I mean, you have zoomed in too much. You need to just zoom out. So now we see this a big thick blue line running.
Yes.
No, from right. Yeah, this one. This is Chenab. No, I'm not able to see it clearly. That this should be Chenab. Yeah, this is Chenab River.
Yeah.
So you come down. You come down towards Jammu and keep scrolling downwards. Yeah. So you see this south of red line is all Pakistani Punjab. There's no Kashmir,
right.
Pakistan occupied Kashmir here. So come down further. Yeah, come down further. You come to Samba. In fact, you just zoom out. This is too big an area actually. So just zoom out. Yeah, more. Yeah, this is better. Yeah. Now you can see. Just scroll a bit to the left, to my left as I look. No, left. My left. Yeah, now you see these two blue bodies. One to the right, bottom of the screen, and one which you refer to. So this is the Chenab on top and Ravi to our right of the screen. So this area between this, of course, border doesn't run straight. We call it an international border, and they refer to it as working boundary. So this is a place where making use of the technical that ambiguity, because if they were also recognized as an international border, then implications are different. 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪 pe it's okay if bullets cross 𝙒𝙧 once in a while. Yeah, this is what I wanted to point out. Thanks for the map, Sachin.
And now let's go to the other topic that I was talking about. And Colonel Raina, this is still preliminary, but indications are that US is going to sort of try and see if they can resettle the Palestinians of Gaza at a slightly different place. And for that, they are willing to underwrite about $40 billion, B as in boy, $40 billion to Israel. The idea is they're saying, look, Sinai is a desert. We are going to relocate these 2 million people by first building houses there. Then it is desert country, but it will be like a walled city. it will be farther away south, and Egypt will, of course, get paid some money also. And since this is desert, it is not being populated right now. So they'll be put, and Israel will be able to use the Gaza area for other things. In other words, essentially cleansing the place of all Palestinians, but for some profit. Something like this, people can say, go back and say, hey, because this is going to come next 2 weeks. We are just getting a little bit ahead of the story here, and we are proposing that if Akhand Bharat concept is from Atak to Katak, Katak is already in India, Atak is not. So to go up to Atak, there is many things. For example, my good friend, he also invites you. Adi Achint has come up with a map of Pakistan where he has this all, चार टुकड़े कैसे होंगे, कौन से होंगे, कहाँ इसका बंटवारा होगा, वगैरह वगैरह. Now, something like this, can something like this be applied to India also? What is the density of population in GB and 𝗣𝗂𝘀𝘁𝘀? Any orderly way to integrate them into Indian society? Because 75 years they've been away, but habits may not be different. You may wear the same clothing, you may eat the same food, but your thought has changed. सोच बदल गई है. सोच को बदलना होगा. 100%, that is the first one that needs to be done. In order to do that, sir, I'm going a little long because I'm trying to set the question for you.
Yeah.
See, at the end of the day, it is roti, kapda or makan. And people from across the LOC in Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, they see, हमारे पास 2 घंटे के लिए electricity नहीं है. On the other side, it is like 24 hours a day. And now I'm hearing that India has put up giant screens showing stories and channels for them to watch. They can sit in their house and watch all these channels also, is what I heard. I don't know, you can confirm this. So, yes. सोच की बदली की कोशिश हो रहा है. To change the mindset is happening. What are your thoughts on this? It's a little radical, of course.
No. I have a doubts whether this Israel it's a dislocation, no, or relocation.
Yes,
you call it
yes,
relocation,
yes.
but it's basically dislocation for people who are being who are affected.
Rehab.
How successful that I have a doubts. Yeah. Of course, we don't have the luxury what the Sinai desert or no. There one thing is we're just picking up a pocket and relocating it, which I have a doubt. They'll say you're taking us away from Jerusalem, you're taking us away from our mosque. No, Israel, this so-called Palestine also exists in 2 pockets. So those complexes, of course, we leave it for US and others to decide. In our area, okay, I'll tell you, Akhand Bharat, if you ask me, I'll say Akhand Bharat goes till Kabul because Hindu Shahi kings ruled it for centuries till Kabul. No?
Right.
So practically not possible. My concept of Akhand Bharat is you have a kind of mindset which is respect for all, that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as long as that gets implemented in a larger geographical area, you're achieving kind of Akhand Bharat.
Right.
Coming to your question, yeah, Kerala mein they have put this, I think it's 45 inches or 100 inches. No, it's a bigger screen which can be seen from across Neelam River, and hopefully they'll see the matches also in the World Cup. I don't know what is being broadcast. So there's a merit when people say that one day it should come. Like I told you that time, it's not worth it. So if we actually want to get into nitty-gritties with your leading question, I have something to say. See, the profile of people who live all along line of control on other side is not same. Is not similar when it comes to 𝗣𝗂𝘀𝘁𝘀. So if we start from the southern side, which is opposite our village and where my ancestral place and everything else lies. So this is a so-called Azad Kashmir, where government was announced, Azad Kashmir government was announced on 5th of October 1947, much before invasion of J&K happened in October 47. They had announced there's a place called Plandri. They had liberated that place and they had created a headquarter of Azad Kashmir. Now, this area, firstly, it produces nothing. It is a very, very underdeveloped area. And people here are very hard nuts. I belong to same fraternity, I know. And they have seen terrorist camps and everything happening, people passing through them and creating chaos inside India, coming back. And you would remember those instances where there were a couple of them when heads of our soldiers were chopped off. So
Yes,
those heads
yes.
were taken to POJK in that Ravla court and put on exhibition in a market, main market, and people came in thousands to see it. So that is kind of mental setup or psychology they have. They're hardened people, and I would like to call them jihadis. So that is one area which actually there's no merit getting it back into our folds. Emotional hona theek hai, Shri ji, but another thing I'll tell you, people say today they are shouting India jana, India jana. People who left India and while leaving Jammu and Kashmir in 47, they slaughtered so many non-Muslims there. Then they went and settled down there. Now they want to come back. So if they've not been faithful or loyal to Pakistan for 75 years, do you think next 75 years they will not reverse the process? So I have my doubts. But as you move north across Pir Panjal, you come into Neelam Valley, Neelam Ganga, we call it Kishan Ganga, they call it Neelam. There the population profile is totally different. Firstly, this area of Thithwal, even Uri, they are Pahadis, they are not Kashmiris. You keep going up north, Gurez, they are Dard people, Dard is a community. Then Shans, and these people hate Pakistan in the sense that whenever artillery barrages used to be exchanged, they are sitting right in front of us, and our population centers are not as thick as there, because the way they multiply, I'm sorry to use this word, the reproduction rate other side is pretty high, and area is hilly. There's no wide place where they can go back and set themselves. So bang on the line of control, their population density is much more. Plus that area happens to be the only tourist kind of area available to Pakistan. They don't have the luxury of Uttarakhand and north east like we have. So Ajakar they come to Murray and then come to Neelam Valley and this area. So it's pretty fairly built up. A lot of investment has come from Pakistani generals and others who own hotels there. Now this population at one point of time actually went and surrounded Pakistani camps protesting. They said, you fire at Indian army, you start it, and when they retaliate, nothing happens to you because you're sitting in bunkers and we get sorted out. So Pakistani army also got some bunkers constructed. There's a beautiful thing which I quoted in one of my books. There's a study carried out by a female author of Pakistan. She went to the area and she found out that whenever RT exchange used to happen and everybody will rush into the bunkers naturally have no light, nothing. The girls will be raped inside. Their own village, the cousins, whomsoever you may call it, they will rape the females inside. There's RT shelling going on, nobody can go out. So in that noise or what chaos, and nobody knows who's sitting where, these guys there were the cases of rape, and it became a routine. That's the thing which pushed the ladies of that area. No men went to cordon Pakistani army post. Ladies went to Pakistani army post, sat in front and protested. They said it's because of you, and that's one reason that for many months that area actually became inert. The RT shelling was stopped. So that is one area. Yes, you can target, you can kind of lure them, and they are not typical. They are different people. They are not like what I was calling that jihadi people who live in front across our area. Further up north, Gilgit-Baltistan is totally different ball game. It was Buddhist once upon a time, then became Shia, and after 47, because of Pakistani policy of settling Punjabis and Sunni Muslims all over, even so-called Jammu and Kashmir Jammu and Kashmir POJK, they have got a lot of non-Kashmiris into or non-J&K residents from Punjab settled into this area. They already changed their demography. So same is happening in Gilgit-Baltistan. 100% Buddhist to 100% Shia, and today they are 60-40, 60% Shias and 40. Now, just next to Gilgit-Baltistan, where our boundary used to finish, is Chitral Hunza area. Now that area is Afghanistan is as it is eyeing. They want to take that area into their territory. So Shirji, my point of this long thing is that Gilgit-Baltistan gives us one advantage, that we can have access straight to Wakhan corridor and through Central Asia. So even if we have to give and take, it's worth it. Southern part of POJK has nothing to offer to us, has a population which is highly radicalized, 4 million of them. How worth will it be taking them back is something which I'm not comfortable. I have my own doubts. It gives you nothing in return. Nothing. Kashmir Valley, one good thing which can happen if it ever comes to us. Firstly, all these things should come to us automatically. We should not be losing our soldiers and lives to claim these areas. So that area can be cut off from rest of Pakistan, because geography is such that if you go and take Muzaffarabad, which is ours, then rest of the Pakistan has no access into this area. Then the influence, everything else can be sorted out. That cannot happen in 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝗿𝘂𝘁 Poonch area, which is adjoining Pakistan and Punjab. And they identify themselves as Punjabis more than Kashmiris. Up north, like I said, you get access to Wakhan corridor, is worth it. And population density there is pretty low. It's not heavily. So out of 3 areas, if at all we were to do that, Attock, by the way, lies in the area which I am saying let it be, because just across Muzaffarabad. So we can touch Attock, but whether we should take it or not, that remains. And it's a government to decide. I have my own issues. So this is what we discussed last time. This time I have cut that into 3 portions and try to address each and every portion with its merit and demerits.
सर जी, दिस इज गोल्ड सर जी. किसी ने अब तक बात नहीं किया. सब लोग जोश से बोलते हैं हमें वो चाहिए, ये चाहिए, but you are not understanding the ground impact, restrictions and ground realities. That's what you are bringing out. I have a follow-up question on what you said. For India to able to get across to Central Asia, that Wuhan corridor, what happens to Chitral? Does India have to have Chitral also or no?
Yeah, part of, the northern, there's a 38 kilometers stretch where J&K used to touch Afghanistan. Without Chitral, is south of that. On ground, things have changed. Like Afghans, the TTP came into Chitral recently. On ground, what is happening, I'm not very sure. But there's a stretch of 38 kilometers where we don't need to negotiate with Chitral. In fact, if Gilgit-Baltistan comes to us automatically, you take it, Chitral will also come to us. Then we'll have to sit and talk with Afghanis, Taliban. That's the only thing. Because the whole area will get cut off. I told you, moment you take Muzaffarabad, across which is Attock, and then access to the northern area is gone. Then one route is available, which is Peshawar and that way. So Peshawar, as it is, if Pakistan were to break, so there will be Pashtunistan in any case. So basically, we're looking at what? We're looking at Punjab of Pakistan, the trouble creators. So Punjab of Pakistan will have no role to play that side. But Punjab of Pakistan will keep influencing 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝗿𝘂𝘁, Bagh, Palandri area, which is hugging Pakistan and hugging our Poonch Rajouri belt. That's the difference. So वहाँ 38 kilometers का है हमारे पास.
Wonderful, sir. And now let's take a look at what else is happening in the Israel conflict, because I want to put on your thinking cap. Palestinians are cannon fodder, in my opinion, for somebody else to keep attention away from their own people. And I'm talking about Iran. 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘀𝘀 ji, I always refer to him as 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘀 because he said that's how I would like to be remembered. He used to always say that, the mullahs who are actually currently in power in Iran, these people don't even belong to Iran. That they have himself been imported over a few hundred years from other places. So the true nature of Iran or Iranians, they don't seem to want this regime. You saw the protest that came out that happened because of 2 women refusing to wear the hijab. So in order to keep their people quiet, it looks like Iran has externalized the problem, and for that they found Palestine as a cannon fodder. Again, my way of looking at it, and you can tell me, yeah, this is all BS, this is what is happening. That's okay. We are trying to have an exchange of thoughts here. And today we are seeing that new theaters are emerging. Syria is beginning to fire shells at Israel, and Hezbollah is also doing it. So you have now 4 theaters already for Israel. The Gaza invasion on the south, that it has initiated. The other 3, West Bank, Syria, and now Hezbollah in northern part, all these have started. But if you go back to the Sutradhar, it appears to be Iran. I could be wrong about this. Do you think that to settle all this, that something major needs to happen in Iran? 2 or 3 things: change in regime, or take out the complete nuclear complex like the way Israel took out Iraq's complex in 1982. 3, sort of a revolution that happened, but that might be a little bit different now. Your thoughts?
Okay. Shirji, interestingly, till 1979, Iran and Israel were friends. That you would know.
Mm-hmm.
They were friends before this so-called revolution happened, and everything else went for a 6 or a toss. Your point about Iranians, same thing we have in Kashmir. Gilanis and all these such names you hear, they are not Kashmiris. So I think this is part of our history of Asia and Central Asia and West Asia. Ki people come from outside, take over your leadership, and they start creating trouble for you. Kashmiri, if you actually look at Kashmir problem, you'll find the main sutradhar of Kashmir problems are all non-Kashmiri stock. Of course, they came many 100 years back into Kashmir. Now, Iran and Israel were friends. Thereafter, of course, revolution happened. So when you say Syria, sir, actually Syria and Iran, basically Syria acts like proxy of Iran. So उसमें कोई फर्क नहीं. और जब when it comes to punishing Iran, Israel is always going and blasting Syria. To my mind, they have, over years, Iran and Israel, they have decided to pick up a different path of conflict. They have always been in conflict. See, whether recently they were bombarding each other's ships. That you heard that thing where Iran said "Humna nahi toda, humna nahi mara," or Israel said "Humna nahi mara." So they were bombarding each other's ships in the ocean. They've been attacking, like Israel has been eliminating their nuclear scientists. 5 of them is also created a couple of blasts in their nuclear facility. So Israel has taken a covert way of sorting out Iran as far as possible. If you look at Iran, what they're doing, they're using Syria and Hamas and Hezbollah to sort out Israel. But like it happened in, again, we need to go back to history and connect things. Like it happened in 1947, sir, while India and Pakistan were fighting tooth and nail in Jammu and Kashmir, elsewhere, it was all good times. In fact, they were Raising Day being celebrated in Pakistan, and our officers were going and attending because units had gone that side. So they were celebrating their big days. So our officers had gone that side. Their officers come to attend parties here. So I think over a period of time, they have matured into a kind of players in the conflict where instead of taking on directly, because taking on directly means what? Taking on directly means destruction, mutual destruction. While we may say Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons, but knowing their engineering capability, they are the best engineers in the world. They're better than Germans. Our Europeans have the way of saying that we are the best, but historically, Iran, culturally, they are very good engineers. If somebody says that nothing will ever happen between Israel and Iran, no, that's not the thing. Anything can happen. But when I look at, yes, sir.
I studied, what you call intermediate now in India, right? 11th grade, 12th grade. And the 12th grade exam, that is when it's a single exam for the entire state. That was unified state of Andhra Pradesh. Do you know who the number 1 guy was? Topper? He was an Iranian.
Okay.
Very good friend of mine, because we both went to the same university afterwards. And what you said about them being extremely smart is bang on. His parents fled Iran in 1959. See, every 10 years there used to be a purge, and they used to come to other countries. Many came to India in 1959. And he's still in Hyderabad now, but he's not doing any engineering stuff. But what you said is absolutely right. Very, very brilliant fellow. Very brilliant. Number 1 in the state is not easy, Col Raina. I mean, you're talking about the smartest kid in his in his group. So I just wanted to echo what you said, compliment what you said. I know if he's watching, he'll know that I'm who. I don't want to mention names here, but I know he knows. And many of my classmates are probably watching. They'll know who I'm talking to. Back to you, sir.
Okay. So it's in part of their genes or DNA. They're great engineers. Now, if we were to predict future, so Israel cannot be seen in isolation. Israel means Israel and USA. Israel, the way it is involved at present in Gaza, cannot afford to fight at multiple fronts. Like if you were to invade Syria, so to say, or exchange rockets or missiles with Iran, as of now, Israel, and we must also understand Israel, which was always seen as a brash guy who will react immediately. This time they've been so sensible. They've gone very deliberately. So they also learned from their big brother, who's been shamed a number of times after knee-jerk reactions, which they do, Americans. So if you look at America and Israel together, which we must, America with Taiwan and Ukraine happening will not like to open a third front today. Given an option, they would like to sort out Iran. There's no doubt about it. But America, as of now, will like to buy time and not get into this. Israel, while clearing Gaza and the resettlement plan, which is a news to me, and let's see. I mean, I always appreciate your kind of pre-HR intelligence, which you always have. So Israel will not like to put all our fingers in the conflict. Like he starts fighting in Lebanon, southern Lebanon also starts fighting in Syria. Luckily, Jordan and Egypt are quiet. So anything can happen in war. I mean, when people go mad, anything can happen. But logically speaking, it will not should not start immediately. Like we are expecting 2, 3, 4 months. Maybe it happen after a couple of years. There's a time frame one can look at. In my personal opinion, I mean, I may be right or wrong. America and Israel, in their own interest, will not take the conflict to that level where they have to really fight Iran directly. And Iran also, if you see, the old friend of Israel, now Iran has got good ties with Qatar. Iran and Hamas, that relationship is very strange. You have a Shia country supporting Sunni thing. But then Qatar, if Israel actually decides that to sort out everything concerning this issue, he has to go after 3. That is Palestinians, the PLO, Hezbollah, the 𝗖𝗎𝘁, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, whatever they call it, and Hamas. That will also involve Qatar, which happens to be US's very close ally and good friend, and then the biggest air base we have there. So there are a lot of it's actually a muddle, Shiriji, and in a muddle anything can happen. When pigs fight, anything can happen. But I am very sure they're not pigs. They may look like and behave like pigs. Even Iranians, they also know if they have actually the trajectory which they are trying to follow tomorrow. I mean, they are developing whatever they want to develop, whether secretly or whatever. The fact remains, they had reasons to attack Israel so many times when Israel was killing their scientists, their military officers, their nuclear facility. Clearly, सबको पता था Israel ने किया. They didn't hit back. So they have also chosen a way, let others die for us. So like you said, cannon fodder. Iran has very intelligently used Hamas and Hezbollah as cannon fodder. In my view, it is also using Syria as a cannon fodder, preparing it for cannon fodder. So tomorrow Syria may also get written off somewhere. Iran will be the last man to jump into war. This is my own assessment. I mean, you can make us wiser, sir, by giving your inputs or your...
And no, you're absolutely right. See, if you look at any act of terror, right, only 1 or 2 you can say where Iran says, yes, we did this thing. It's always hands off with somebody else. And there is always there is a possibility that Iran did this, Iran did that. So this is the cleverness, being able to, not expend your own troops, but use somebody else's stuff. But you didn't say anything about the revolution. Is it possible, even thinkable, that the people of Iran can throw the current mullah regime? Because they did that with the king. What are the possibilities that they might do the same thing again?
Okay. Yeah. One point before that, strangely, taking your point, Israel has not blamed Iran for what happened and Iran is not taking responsibility. They said, yeah, we support, we'll kiss their hands and all. So this is this is a way of fighting war. Shiriji, the Victoria's Secret so-called glamorous wardrobe for ladies has the heaviest sales happening in Iran. You know that?
I didn't know that.
Biggest sales of this brand happens in Iran. And if you know, like you have Iranian friend, people who live there and who visit to come to India on student visa, and if you interact with them, they have a underground kind of society. They have very happening parties. Their kitty parties, they say they'll put anybody into shame. That kind of, when the ladies get together and whatever they do, and even their other parties. That's why they had this moral police coming up. So unke andar jo genes and DNA is still that old Persian thing, and they're very liberal. So they've been suppressed for long. By themselves, they may not be able to do it. But yes, as a part of war fighting mechanism, if USA does it and Israel, of course, will be too much interested, it can be staged, it can be managed. And if you ask me, between war and upstaging these guys, throwing them out and getting old ways back in Iran, I'll go for the latter, because naturally there will be bloodshed in any case, but much lesser. and the whole region will not get destabilized. There's a possibility, but Shiriji, problem is when. That when thing is very difficult to predict. But any sane mind will look at this possibility, because this society, even look at Afghanistan, sir. Previous Taliban and this Taliban, people say they are very liberal, they are better. No, they are not better, because 20 years, one generation grew up under American care, and they saw what Western life was. Today, if Talibanis try that stunt of 90s of imposing themselves the way they imposed on Afghanistan in 90s, there'll be revolt inside Afghanistan. There'll be bloodshed, of course, people get killed. So that latent kind of culture or heat is still surviving in Iran. Victoria's Secret is only one part of that indicator, one indicator. So I think it is possible, but it has to be done from outside. It will be inherent, it will be difficult. They have their very strict watch and that policy. They do keep things under work, but people enjoy parties in Iran even today. This is what I just want to say. So if you have that kind of a thing, possible.
Yes. To round out your thinking, viewers, I don't know how many of you know this, but fully 30% of Baghdad used to be Jewish. And it is believed that whoever survived, periodic purges there, they've all settled now in what is today Israel. Same thing with Iran. Iran had a substantial number of Jews. In fact, I know some of my friends who are Jews from Iran. Personally.
Even today they have. They are Jews.
But that number is very, very small. Very, very small. I mean, small. Most of them left because Israel was the promised land. Because Israel had a policy, right? If you are a Jew, it doesn't matter which country you belong to. You get a citizenship, you can come and relocate here. A lot of Indian Jews have relocated to Israel because they felt that the standard of living had improved. I mean, that's true. Israel today is a first world country. You just look at the infrastructure and the kind of stuff they are doing in Haifa. One city, I mean, it is making up for most of the valley in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is a huge space. I don't know if you have visited Silicon Valley,
no.
Raina ji. It is the valley. It's called Bay Area. That is what defines the Silicon Valley. There are mountains, and then there is the ocean, Pacific Ocean. In between the mountains and the ocean, there is a valley. That valley is called Silicon Valley, and the Pacific comes inside, forms a ring, and goes. And that a ring, if you motor along that, it is 600 kilometers.
Oh,
400 miles. It's a massive area. Yeah. And that is where most of the high-tech industries are located in the United States. And we think that it's only electronics. That's not true. Medical, you think about it, it's headquartered in Silicon Valley.
Okay.
Most of the cutting edge, next generation medicine, all that stuff is happening in here. So my point I'm saying all this is all the considerable amount of things that are even ahead of this is happening in Haifa. In Israel. That is where Intel, some of the most advanced plants are over there. And anything that you think about the next generation, for example, you talk about online merchant, right? Commerce thing. You go to Amazon and you go and shop. This is also a little bit of gyan for our viewers also. See, that technology about what is called as private public key pair system, that thing where you are able to securely log into Amazon and make a secure transaction with nobody knowing what exactly happened. That's called public key infrastructure, PKI. This was completely done by Israeli-born people. The first one was called RSA, Rivek Shamir Adi. 3 people sitting in US, they came up with the first workable implementation of this. And then there is more and more and more happening. They are the pioneers in this. They are the pioneers in many other things like this. So Israel has so much advanced stuff that I consider that as the first one. Anyway, that was what I was trying to say. So let's get back to Iran. The conditions today are not conducive for a rebellion. I think they tried that when those 2 girls were, assaulted. For 3-4 months it was happening, but somehow this moral police and other people, they seem to have squashed it. How are things in Iraq? It's gone quiet a little bit lately. How are things in Iraq?
Firstly, Iran, it was more of an act of defiance rather than a revolution or revolt when it happened with a girl, and it was more of an act of defiance. But that is one indicator, yes. Uh, Iraq, thanks to America, it left it in shambles. It continues to be in shambles. They've not been able to find a government which can be called reliable. It's always looked at as a government which is American agent. Even today, American has fingers there in Iran. And of course, what happened to ISS? You already spoke about it last year. Iran has no affinity with Hamas or Hezbollah when it comes to fighting Israel. Like, I think it was in Adi's program, I said, there's a survey carried out which said 85% of our Arab world is pro-Palestine. So even when Saudis were going and shaking hands with Israel, the groundswell was that people on ground, whether in Saudi Arabia or UAE, all those people who are reaching out to Israel were pro-Palestinians, because they look at Palestine as something which as a cause. Like country like Pakistan, they say nobody can go to Israel on Pakistani passport. Their passport reads not for Israel. So the fanatics, of course, there is no limit. So Iran has been not, as far as I know, there's been, when we talk of present crisis going on in Israel and Gaza, I have no inputs on Iraq trying to do anything about it. Unless until you have something, I'm not aware of.
No. It's gone quiet. It's gone quiet.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a good thing. See,
yes.
Problem with this world is, so-called Muslim world, is there's no unity. They only kill each other. This is a distinct feature of so-called Islamic world, 53 countries. They're always at war or conflict with somebody, one another. Had they been imagine all 53 countries or 56 countries being together as a powerhouse. We are looking at axis being created, Russia, China, Iran, and this and that. Imagine these guys getting together and speaking in one voice. They've never done it, and they'll never do it. So Iraq, I am not aware, unless until you have something to add.
No. Also, viewers, did you notice that the word Oman or Muscat doesn't get mentioned anymore? They chose to be neutral in this whole thing. They have been neutral for a long time now.
Yeah.
Oman Hatke is quiet. It doesn't do much. Bahrain is following UAE. Saudi Arabia is also following UAE. In some ways, UAE is sort of the pioneer in this to modernize the Arab world. And the rest are kind of quiet. Sir, with your permission, we have a few questions for you.
Yes, please, sir.
Nitin Jain wants to know, does the Pakistan side border have tunnel infrastructure similar to what Gaza has? If yes, do we have any solution to neutralize these tunnels in case of war or conflict?
Pakistan had this, not like what they have in Gaza. They dug very crude 100 feet, 200 feet long tunnels in our so-called working boundary, what Pakistan calls, and we call international border between Chenab and this place, Ravi. In this corridor, there have been instances where tunnels been discovered, and they have actually pushed people through. When you heard of those incidents happening in Samba, Kathua belt, their highway, and they'll cross in the evening and early morning, first vehicle they'll see on the road and they'll fire at it, or first camp they'll attack, because all this highway of this stretch of road highway between Ravi and that is Pathankot and Jammu is at places 4 kilometers away from international border and places 9 to 10 kilometers. So these tunnels are there, but they are no match what you see in Gaza or what you hear about those in Gaza. Israelis have shown old videos. No. And if war happens, these things are good for waging asymmetric warfare. When you have tanks coming on to you, when it comes down to that level, then these tunnels lose a meaning. These are good. They are good in Vietnam also. They are doing well in Gaza, as long as Israel is exercising that kind of restraint on itself. If tomorrow Israel goes berserk and says, "𝗎𝚖 कि तैसी, I'll do whatever I want to do," they'll just plaster complete Gaza. Tunnels lose their meaning. They can remain buried inside. Pakistanis don't have this kind of infrastructure. The question was that. But for 100 feet, 200 feet, I think the longest we discovered was 400 feet. That's it.
Now, Israel is using a new bomb called the foam bomb, which is supposed to kind of blast the tunnels and then seal it once it dries out. So it's not like completely taking out the stuff, but in vital places, this will seal out the passages. So if you have a network of canals, you come some distance and then you can't go further. So this entire networking is being disrupted. So I think, let's see. I have a hunch that whatever is being talked about is what's going to happen. But again, it's early days. Next question from Magnet Ranga. Bharat has been carrying heavy historical baggages. Pak border issue is just one of them. Is it possible for this dispute to be ever settled?
See, for Pakistan is an existential issue. If Kashmir problem doesn't exist, Pakistan will cease to exist. Because Pakistan army will cease to exist, their budget will dry up, and then there'll be Pakistan a different. So it's Pakistan which is keeping our historical baggage is all right. We have number of them. We can live with this, we can live without it. Doesn't matter. For Pakistan, Kashmir is something which is for their survival. Just imagine Pakistan less Kashmir. Today, their economy is in doldrums, their political scene is bad. And even then, every Friday, they speak about Kashmir. And they go to UN last week and they speak about Kashmir even there. So it's for them that they're using Kashmir as an instrument of survival for themselves, the people in power in Pakistan. We have no issue. Dispute settled. Nehruji in 1963. Now, this will be probably news to many. See, Lord Mountbatten, we keep talking about Lady Mountbatten and Nehru's, whatever. That was pre-47. After 47, Mountbatten came to India 4 times as a state guest when Pandit Nehru was a prime minister. And he was putting pressure on Pandit Nehru that you settle this Kashmir dispute and you'll be remembered in the history of the world. That a man who rose up to the occasion and he said, okay, give and take and just settle it. And Nehruji was, there's no recorded evidence what he was doing, but after 62 debacle, and I believe it's written is a book by Shivkunal Verma, where it's mentioned the episode. Mountbatten told him that after this debacle where you lost face in front of Chinese, the only way to revive your persona and your reputation in the world is solve the Kashmir issue. So what was the thing on table? Pakistan will be given some part of present day Jammu and Kashmir, which is in India. So MO Directorate, Military Operation Directorate of Indian Army was told to mark new maps. Swaran Singh took a delegation and went to Pakistan. There were 5 rounds of talk. If you study Indo-Pak relationship, in 62 and 63, there were 5 rounds of talks about this issue. And it was during last round when it was assumed that India will offer something on plateau to Pakistan. Okay, to my mind, you take Krishnaganga Valley, complete Neelam Valley, and take it, keep it. And there's a mountain range which divides Kupwara. This side is Kupwara, other side is Titwal Gurez. So this side is India, that side is Pakistan, and then you have an international border running along a mountain, which is otherwise a good way of defining your boundary. But in this case, Pandit Nehruji was ready to sacrifice that much of part of Kashmir. As this delegation landed in Pakistan, Mr. Bhutto, who was their foreign minister, and in Beijing that day, he made the announcement of Shaksgam being given to China to sort out or settle the border dispute between Pakistan and China. And reacting to that announcement, Pandit Nehru called the delegation back and the talks failed. So that was done in 63 by giving some part of our Kashmir to Pakistan and tell them, okay, you keep this part and we keep this part. Second solution, of course, when Musharraf came, that was another idea. You have a soft border. And so if you want, it can be settled. But problem with Indian leadership is whom do they talk to? Or as a matter of principle, being a democratic government, our government talks only to government. And Pakistan government has no value. Power there is in the hands of military. So any democratic government will not speak to a military power unless until there's a Musharraf who's a military man and becomes the government. So solution can always be found. At this stage, when Pakistan is in a process of breaking up, we should not really be offering them anything. In fact, we should just be waiting. And when it happens automatically, we'll get whatever comes to us and that'll be end of it. Pakistan's balkanization of Pakistan is the best way to settle this dispute forever. And many other disputes from Sar Creek to Siachen to Kashmir, everything will be sorted out. I think we must wait and watch.
Thank you, sir. Next one from Partha P. Does Military History Research Foundation also have a UA wing, unknown assailants?
I wish we had. No, we don't have. But in India, many places people are celebrating unknown assailants. Puja bhi ho rahi hai. There's a havan being organized for the to give more power to those people, unknown people. No, we don't deal with this. Thank you.
Next one, please. Rangaswamy wants to know, Jai Hind sir, what is the price for buying POJK? We hear Karachi Sapta market has placed US 12 billion.
I have no clue about this. Sapta market, I'm never been to in this kind of a thing. I don't know. Price, I told you already. If you're looking at other price, you take area opposite Punch, Rajouri, you're getting 4 million radicalized people into your fold, along with a territory which has nothing to offer you other than few footpaths and few foot trails and one odd road. Then you will spend money building roads there. So we already spoken about it.
Next one, thank you, Jahangir. Iran has been interfering in India. Will India reciprocate in kind? India should help in setting up Persian pre-Islamic way of life?
No, Iran's interference in India, see, every country, nobody's friends at that level. Everybody has his own interests. They keep pushing whichever way it works for them. If they're needling us, I'm sure India will also be needling them. Yes, this setting up Persian pre-Islamic way of life, this we spoke about it, that culture survives even today. You'll be surprised even in Kashmir. If you ever come to Kashmir, Shiriji, you come, I'll take you there. Music is haram in Islam, no? But when they converted Kashmir, which was complete Hindu, and Kashmir had no casteism, it's never existed in Kashmir in Hindu culture. So they only one community, Kashmiri Brahmins, Pandits. When they all converted overnight, thanks to sword, into Islamic way of life, so they had this urge ki bhajan gaane hai. Now they were used to singing songs in the temples. Now Islam and the person who's converting them is radicalized. Now he'll break any murti he found, 𝗤𝙗𝙗𝘁, his name is that. And he'll say, get me 20-40 Brahmins in the morning, I'll burn their Janeu and then only I'll have breakfast. So such kind of a ruler. So they converted, all right, but they couldn't resist the urge to sing in praise of the Lord. So when the next king came, a delegation went back to Muslim delegation. By that time, the Muslim, one generation down, they went down to king and said, sir, please allow this thing, that we should be allowed to sing in the mosque. Now, singing in the mosque happens only in Kashmir. So he said, okay. Even today, there are certain festivals when you're passing through lanes, by lanes of Kashmir, you find people singing inside the mosque, nowhere else. So there are certain things which survive big debacles. Kashmir, Islam came in 14th century. So 600 years that culture has survived. They are Islamic, Muslim, and still they sing. So similarly, Iran has kept that culture going. So it will find its way back to where it started. The earth is round because everything goes back to where it started. How it goes, when it goes, nobody can predict.
Next question, please. Avinash Mansabdar wants to know, how long our western borders will be active? How alert do we need to be to avoid October 7th instances? Is it a possibility?
Everything is a possibility. When you have a rogue nation next to you, anything can happen. And that vigil will never be brought down ever. As long as Pakistan keeps existing in the present form, our borders will remain active. And since our western borders, other than the line of control, there's nothing active there, technically speaking. But yes, we are on alert. When drones come into Punjab, in a way, even that international border is getting violated. Arms are being sent through drones and drugs. So yes, similar thing may not happen, but it cannot be ruled out. So forces and agencies will always remain on alert. This is a price you pay for being where we live. Is as simple.
Thank you so much, Col Ajay Raina and viewers. I'm hoping that you guys will, by way of comments, explain or express your thanks to Colonel Raina. We have touched so many topics today that perhaps it has not seen the light of day in the mainstream media or even in social media. The idea, again, is to get enriched and to enrich you. So I hope those of you who are still thinking about subscribing to our channel will change your mind and will subscribe. And I'd like to invite Colonel Raina back periodically, because we discuss a lot of things here. And sometimes we don't even know what we are going to discuss, but it just goes. We go like a river that flows. Our conversation also flows. 𝗤𝙗𝘗, it flows. So thank you once again, Colonel Raina, and viewers. We'll be back again tomorrow with more such interesting conversations. Namaskar.
Thank you, Shirji. Thank you, and namaskar to everybody.